Bonjour, I'm Elodie from Bordeaux with Elodie, and today I'm here to tell you more about how to read a Bordeaux wine label. I know it's very complicated when you don't know much about Bordeaux wines, and even when you are a local and you know your wines, it can get complicated to understand these labels. So I selected a few bottles that we showed you little by little, and I'm going to go over what informations are on the bottle and what you can get from this information. So, where should I start? In Bordeaux we have 60 appellations. So an appellation is a geographic limitation. It's a limitation that exists because the characteristics of the wines within this area are quite similar. Knowing the appellation of the wine is going to give you an indication about the quality of the wine. However, I understand that when you're not familiar with Bordeaux wines, it can be complicated to know what the appellation is, what kind of information this appellation is giving you. So I will go over the main appellations of Bordeaux, the most prestigious ones. So let's start, for example, with Saint-Émilion. Saint-Émilion, I have right here, I selected a bottle of Chateau Beau Séjour Bécaud winery that we really love. It's a family-owned winery right on the limestone plateau of Saint-Émilion. They produce amazing wines, and the typicity of Saint-Émilion is usually a blend made of Merlot, mainly blended with Cabernet Franc and sometimes a little bit of Cabernet Sauvignon. That's a typical blend of Saint-Émilion wines. Beau Séjour Bécaud, you see you have the name of the winery, so Chateau Beau Séjour Bécaud. When you see Chateau, it's a very good indicator. It means it's an estate wine. It means that the wine has been made at the chateau from A to Z. So we've been using only the grapes from the vineyards that are owned by this winery, and all the process, all the vinification, the aging and the bottling until the labeling has been made at the estate. Usually the bottling is made at the estate but not by the team of the winery. It's often an external bottling company that comes at the estate and is going to bottle at the estate. But it's made there. So it's written on the label also. Here you can see it here, mise en bouteille au château. It means bottled at the estate. What other information do we have on it? So we can see it's a Premier Grand Cru classé. Premier Grand Cru classé is a very important information, I would say, because pretty much you're going to see the word classé. It means it's part of the classification of the wines of Saint-Émilion. So not all appellations have their own classification system. You have the classification of Saint-Émilion that has been existing since 1954, and it's updated every 10 years. So it's a good classification to know, because pretty much as of the 2012 revision of the classification, there are 10% of the wines from Saint-Émilion that are in this classification. So we have close to 800 wine producers. So if you have a wine from Saint-Émilion that is written classé, it means that you are in the top 10% of Saint-Émilion wines, quality-wise. On top of it, for Chateau Beau Séjour Bécaud, you can see that it's written not only Grand Cru classé, but also Premier Grand Cru classé. So it means that it's a first grade classified fruit. So in the Saint-Émilion classification, the top of the classification, there's 3 levels. So the top of the classification is premier Grand Cru classé A, letter A, where there are only 4 wineries: Château Pavie, Château Ozon, Château Cheval Blanc, and Château Angélus. Right under that, you have 14 premier Grand Cru classé B, letter B. Château Beauséjour-Bécaud is part of these 14 wineries. So you see that they don't write the letter B, but usually the A's write the letter A's. So if you have a premier Grand Cru classé and there's no letter written, usually it's going to be a B. And if there's no A or no B, but the price is very high, it might be an A. But usually they write it. And there's only 4, so it's not too difficult to remember: Angélus, Ozon, Pavie, Cheval Blanc. I will go over all these details about Saint-Émilion and the classification and the terroir and all this in the video dedicated to Saint-Émilion that I will do very soon. Château Beauséjour-Bécaud, what else can we see on the label? You see we have the vintage. The vintage in Bordeaux is very important because every year the weather is quite different, and the goal of a winemaker in Bordeaux is to keep the personality of the wine, to express at its best the personality of the wine with the weather that we have to deal with each year. So now we have technical facilities, we know how to make good wine, whatever the weather is. I would say what will change will be the quantity, but also how long we'll be able to keep the wine, and you know, some definitions of the wine and some characteristics of the wine, but you will always have something at least good, and it can be on some years exceptional or very good. Something else important that we can see right here is Saint-Émilion Grand Cru. This is the appellation. So in Saint-Émilion we have 2 appellations. We have Saint-Émilion and Saint-Émilion Grand Cru. Saint-Émilion Grand Cru is the better terroir, and the cru classés are in the Saint-Émilion Grand Cru appellation. But when you have the Saint-Émilion bottle, a key element to look for is the word classé. If you see classé, it means that you are in the top 10% of Saint-Émilion. So that's good to know. And in the back of the label, you have again all the information we just had. And you have Grand Vin de Bordeaux. This really doesn't mean much. Anybody can put it. It's not really, doesn't mean anything. And the level of alcohol, you know, this information that you don't need to know anything about Bordeaux wines to know how to read that. Okay, beautiful wine. That's quite a budget, but I would say, you know, for a special occasion, it's beautiful. 2013 is a vintage that you can actually drink quite young compared to other vintages, so decant it for 2 or 3 hours and it's just beautiful. You just need to be with the right people, and that's the most important. Another Saint-Émilion that I love, Château Canon La Gaffelière, 2015 vintage. So we have the vintage here, we have the owners, the Comte from Nyberg. Premier Grand Cru classé, because it's also Premier Grand Cru classé B, just like Beauséjour-Bécaud. And the Château Canon La Gaffelière. So pretty much the same, you see then we just saw, with the same type of information, mise en bouteille au château, the level of the classification, etc. So that was right bank properties. I have another right bank property that I want to show you because it's quite important. I say right bank because I'm going to show you on the map this appellation, Saint-Émilion, but also this appellation, Pomerol. They are located on the right side of the Dordogne River, actually of both Dordogne and Garonne River. So we say that it's the right bank. And after I'll show you some property from the left bank. So Pomerol, I was just talking about, Château Petit Village, I really love. So you see, what information do we have here? Grand Vin du Château Petit Village, because it's the first label. They also have Les Jardins, which is the second label, the second wine of the estate. A lot of property have a first and a second wine. The second wine is, so there's not the word chateau on it. It allows the winery to actually use younger vines or grapes that they don't want to put in the first label, they put in the second label. A lot of wineries have amazing second labels that are usually easier to drink, younger, and at a much more affordable price. So it can be very interesting to know that. However, now in the export, it's not always easy to find also the second labels. Depends on the winery. So Château Petit Village, the vintage right here. The vintage, I have to say, it is the year that the grapes were picked. It's not the year that the wine is put in the bottle. Okay, so this year it's going to be the 2020 vintage, even if it's bottled only in 2021, okay, or 2022. So Château Petit Village, Pomerol is the appellation right here, and you notice this is a great wine. It's not written classic. This is not because it's not part of the classification. It's just because in Pomerol there are no classification. It's a small appellation with just over 100 properties, and small properties, by the way, it's the average size of the property is around 7 hectares, which is not even 10 acres, well, around 10 acres, so it's very small properties. And no classification. There are a few leaders that you might know, like Petrus, Le Pin, La Fleur, etc. So those are the wineries that a lot of wine lovers know. And to have Pomerol written on the label is, I would say, a proof of quality on its own. So a lot of Merlot in Pomerol, some Cabernet Franc, very, very delicate, fine wine, so good to know. The type of wine that you can actually serve on fish, so that can be interesting. Both fish and meat, actually. The Pomerol appellation d'origine contrôlée. Appellation d'origine contrôlée is the AVA, right? It's the appellation, the AOC that you might see on the label. So it respects the rules of the appellation. And it's very interesting when you come to Saint-Émilion, Pomerol, you see that the two appellations are actually separated by one little road. So you have on one side Saint-Émilion, on the other side Pomerol. It's very nice to see, it's beautiful. I like to say actually that when you are a Bordeaux wine lover and you finally make it to Bordeaux, it's a little bit like the Disneyland, you know, like it's so overwhelming to see all these wineries right there. So now going to the other bank, the left bank, where you have the Grave in the south of Bordeaux, right here in orange, and actually Bordeaux city is right here. So Bordeaux city is in the middle, you have the Grave in the bottom in orange, and the Médoc on top in purple. Médoc wines. How to read a label from Médoc. So let's start with the south of Médoc, Margaux, with Château Lascombe right here. One winery also that we love to visit and we love to drink. So you will see the name of the estate, Château Lascombe. So winery made, as I was saying, from A to Z at the estate, right? A drawing of the property, like it is often the case. Right there we have Margaux, which is the appellation, which is the area, it's actually the communal appellation Margaux in Médoc. And right under we have Grand Cru Classé. So Grand Cru Classé, very different from the Grand Cru Classé from Saint-Émilion because it's not the same classification. This is a classification that was created in 1855, and actually it's not written on this one, but most wineries from Médoc that are classified, just like this Cos d'Estournel, it will be written that it's classé in 1855. You see, a very special classification because created in 1855, never upgraded. Well, actually once, but that's I will tell you about it later. Actually, let me know in your comment if you know what was the change that was made to the classification of 1855. It was just a little clue in 1973 that the winery managed to make change. We have the same type of information, so just that this classification is this Médoc classification from 1855. We have the vintage right here, and this Chateau Las Combes has written the percentage of grape variety in the back on the back label. So usually the percentage of grape variety is in the vineyard, in the plantation, what is planted, but it's more or less respected in the blend that you find in the bottle. I was showing you the example of Chateau Cos d'Estournel that I really love, which is in the appellation Saint-Estèphe, which is more in the north of Médoc, with a drawing of the property. The vintage right here. You see it's not written Chateau in the back, but you can actually see it in the front, sorry, but you can see it in the back label. And you have the owner, etc. I wanted to show you the second label of Chateau Cos d'Estournel so that you can see that we don't write the name, the word Chateau. You see it's Les Pagodes de Cos, so you still see Cos, right, in the name. And Les Pagodes de Cos, it's the second label, so usually a bit more on the fruit, a bit less complex, less aging potential, but beautiful in its youth and much more fun. So that's good to know. And 2011, you see for Saint-Estèphe that usually needs a lot of time to age. Yeah, with a good decanting, it's probably amazing already. And 2011 was quite a classical year, so it's beautiful to enjoy now. One more thing I wanted to show you is this example. It's a family-owned estate in Médoc that we love. It's Château du Moulin Rouge. So Château du Moulin Rouge, it was not classé in the 1855 classification of Médoc. But another very important element that you can find is Cru Bourgeois. So Cru Bourgeois, it means that it has this certification of quality that is given every year to a bit more than 200 wineries in Médoc, and it's actually super reliable. So when you see Cru Bourgeois, you usually get a very good wine for a very good price. You see Cru Bourgeois on the label of Médoc, it's something that you can follow. By the way, 2009, amazing vintage. So it's going to be a great baby. I selected also this Château Carignan. So Château Carignan, this is the Cuvée Prima, which is very good. What was interesting here is just to show you another appellation. So there's a lot of appellations right in Bordeaux. Cadillac de Bordeaux. There's a lot of cut in Bordeaux that are interesting. It's a very good appellation with a lot of great wines at very good price points. So pretty much when you see an appellation in Bordeaux that is not Bordeaux, it's in general going to be better than if you just have Bordeaux or Bordeaux Supérieur. And Bordeaux, just written Bordeaux on the label, I would say it's like the bottom quality that you can find in Bordeaux. It doesn't mean it's not good. It just means that it's in the entry level quality. And then right above you will have Bordeaux Supérieur that is usually better because they follow more restrictions on what they can do or cannot do. And this is also something I wanted to say, is that even if it's Bordeaux written or Bordeaux Supérieur, it doesn't, and it's not another communal appellation or regional appellation, it doesn't mean that it's not good, especially because in France we have to follow a lot of rules in how much we can plant and the grape variety that we can plant and how we are going to vinify and all that. So you won't get bad wine, you will just have different qualities. So that's really one point I wanted to add. So I hope you enjoyed and you learned something. I hope it was clear. The next video will most likely be about Saint-Émilion. If you want in the meantime to learn anything more about specific appellations in Bordeaux, or if you have questions on specific wines you want to learn about, don't hesitate to leave a comment, and you can also send me on Facebook or by email or whatever way of communication you choose. You can send me pictures of a label that you have questions on, so don't hesitate, and I'll be happy to help. I know it can be tricky. So thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when the new videos are out and learn about the other appellations of Bordeaux and other wines, etc. So thank you again. I hope you are all safe and healthy, and I can't wait to hear from you. Bye bye.